What's up, guys? Welcome back to my off-grid life. On today's video, we're going to be assembling this thing from start to finish. I'm also going to have a link down below where you can purchase it and a coupon code so you can get a little bit off. I wish I would have had one when I bought it. Whenever I purchased this thing, after I did all the math, I realized this is the cheapest way to get that many solar panels shipped to your house. Basically, the tracker's free. If I were to get a pallet from, I'm not going to say some of the names, but the companies that take down the solar fields, they have to ship it on a semi. LTL from Arizona or wherever it is to where I live, close to $300 in shipping. This whole thing, right? So for 6 200-watt solar panels and the tracker delivered was like $1,400 something dollars. There's no way that you could do that. At $200 a piece, right? That's $1,200 right there just in the panels, and then you add the freight. I'm telling you, this thing's basically free when you do the math. So we're gonna go ahead and put it together. I love it. I absolutely love it. Watch till the end of the video because I'm gonna tell you some things I learned about it that they don't really tell you when you purchase it. Simple things, easy to fix, but it would be great if you knew it before you started trying to put it together. All right, guys, well, I'm gonna be quiet and we're gonna get going. If you build this exactly the way that the manual shows and you hook it all up and you get it wired, when you start it, the polarity is going to be reversed for your east to west. Now, I don't know if it's because this linear actuator is on the east side and it should actually be flipped over on the west side, because I think if that actuator was on the opposite side, the motion that it travels now would be correct. Both times that I've done this, I've built it exactly the way the manual shows. And I thought maybe this time it would actually work correctly. But there's a quick fix. I've actually seen videos where guys were like, hey, we took the whole thing back apart. All you have to do is take the cover off of this, reverse the 2 wires that go to this linear actuator, and then it will go in the correct direction. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So now, as you can see, when I hit west, it goes west. When I hit east, it travels east. All right, I'm gonna go over a couple of things real quick they don't talk about whenever you buy this that you should be aware of. The first is that it needs an additional power source. So this is not a magic box and it needs some electricity to work. Lucky for me, I had this Harbor Freight set up from when I first moved out here and started building this cabin, and I used it to charge my phone and have one little light. So I have this 100-watt Harbor Freight set up, and I've got a little Power Sports battery, some kind of gel or AGM gig, and obviously, that little PWM or whatever it is that comes with the Harbor Freight stuff. That's perfect to run these. You can run the power supply from the tracker straight to that battery or to the panel, whichever one you prefer. There's actually spots on that panel to make it work. I believe if you wanted to, you could find a way to take power from your system I just feel like that's a big circle to go from your panels to your inverter to your battery back down to 12 volts. So I've got a separate system for my trackers down here. Works just fine. Another thing is that it comes with this light sensor, and this light sensor is what tells it which way it needs to move. It tells you on the light sensor where it needs to be mounted. It's on a specific corner. It needs to be on the northeast corner of this grid. So right here is where the light sensor is going to be mounted. It's going to figure out where the sun's at, and it's going to move this whole thing. I would recommend not putting that on until you've mounted all your panels, especially if you're doing this alone, because these little guys have to go down inside here, right? And once they're in the unistrut, you turn it, and then you can bolt the brackets on for the panels. If you're doing this by yourself, you start trying to put these panels on, and they're going to slide down. And if you have your light sensor affixed already, there's a good possibility that you break it. So my recommendation is don't put the light sensor on until you have all your panels mounted. Another thing is, I don't know if you saw in my assembly video or not, but there are bolts here and here that go through the unistrut, through this top part, and then down to the bottom. It would seem like you should put these parts on as soon as you get done here, because it's the next letter. So if you're one of those people that doesn't like to read the instructions, you just say, okay, well, this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D, and these are E. The problem is, if you put these on before you affix the unistrut, you're gonna have to take them back off again, because those bolts go through the unistrut, through this bracket, and then down here. And you cannot put the unistrut on if these bolt heads are in the way. I put them on because I'm working by myself, and I can't physically put the unistrut all the way across, attach it to here, and then hold the whole thing up and balance it and try to attach it. So I put them on first, and then I take them off one at a time whenever I'm putting the unistrut on. I think that's about everything that they don't really tell you about. I believe that if you were to take this whole assembly and mount it on this side with the linear actuator over here instead of over here, you wouldn't have to reverse the polarity. But if you look at the instruction book, it tells you every time to put it here, and that's what I do. I thought maybe the first time was a fluke, but this time again, the east and west were reversed. Doesn't take long at all to switch those two wires, and then you're back in business. All right, well, that's it for today's video. If you hung around this long, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. You don't have to. I'm not bending your arm. If there's something I missed or you have any questions, feel free, leave a comment down below. Let's talk about it. Until next time, take it easy.